Paella is a peasant dish that originated in Valencia, Spain. The main two ingredients are paella rice and saffron. You can customize it with whichever vegetables you want, with whatever protein you want. There's really no right or wrong way to do it. Today, we're gonna use some mussels and some shrimp. We're gonna make a seafood paella. I'm Chef Rulis from Rulis International Kitchen in El Paso, Texas, and today we're gonna cook some paella. First thing we're gonna do is prep the shrimp. To prep our shrimp, we're gonna take the shells off, leaving the tail on, but we're gonna save the shells to do our stock. Now these are easy peel and they've already been deveined. If you don't get this type, go ahead and get like a pair of scissors and you can devein them yourself. Taking the shells off the shrimp, but we're leaving the tail on. It's for presentation, it's gonna be really nice, and then it's just also really easy to eat because you can just grab it and put that in your mouth. So now we're finally done peeling our shrimp. Next, we're gonna drizzle a little bit of oil and we're gonna season with paprika and a little bit of salt. And use your hands, but just make sure to wash them afterwards. And now that our shrimp is ready, we're gonna clean our mussels. The main thing that you're looking for are these little beards right here. And you're just gonna pull those out. And then once we get these out, we're gonna give them a rinse, and then they steam in about 3 minutes, and so they're really easy to cook. We already have our stock pot. I put 8 cups of water in here. We're gonna bring this to a boil. Once it's rolling, we're gonna add salt and our shrimp shells to make our stock. We're gonna let that go for about 15 minutes. While the stock is boiling, we're gonna heat up a little bit of water and bloom our saffron. You want it hot, not boiling. One of the visual cues will be when little bubbles start to form. That's hot enough. You can turn off the heat and we'll pour it into the saffron. You can already see that it's starting to turn that beautiful yellow color, and you can smell those flowers. Our shrimp stock is boiling. We're gonna go ahead and chop up our vegetables. Start with a red pepper. Cut these into just small sticks like this. It's gonna look really pretty when you cook everything up on the paella. And we cut these into these strips. They're gonna go in with our onion. It's gonna be beautiful. Next, we're gonna cut our onion. The trick to not crying when you're cutting onions is to use a very sharp knife. A dull knife is going to make the onions secrete the liquid that makes you cry. So in essence, using a dull knife, you're making the onion cry, and it's gonna make you cry. But a sharp knife, you're not gonna have that problem. So you'll be able to cut as many onions as you want and not shed a tear. Now we're gonna take a couple of cloves of garlic. Again, this is just a template. If you like garlic, use more. If you don't like garlic, don't use any. It's up to you. You can cut it up however you like. You can mince it, you can julienne it, but I like to give it just a slice. And lastly, we're gonna dice up our Spanish chorizo. So Spanish chorizo is generally made from pork. It's gonna give us a nice smokiness. You can see that beautiful fat that's in there. Fat is flavor, and that's just gonna help envelop the whole paella with this nice smoky flavor, and the little bits are gonna add just texture to your paella. All our chopping is done. So now we're gonna go ahead and steam the mussels in the stock pot. We got them in this pasta insert. We're just gonna drop these guys in and cover it up for about 3 to 5 minutes. So our mussels are done. They've opened up, and this is what you wanna see. If any of them did not open up, that means that those are bad. So you can go ahead and discard those. Go ahead and remove the mussels, and we're just gonna strain the shells out of the stock. Our last step before we begin is rinsing our rice. When you first start rinsing the rice, that water is gonna come out very milky. You wanna keep rinsing that until the water doesn't become perfectly clear, but you still want a little bit of starch in there so you can get that nice creamy feel on the paella. We're ready to get started. First thing is the pan. This is a carbon steel pan. It heats up really nicely and has even heating all the way around. It's gonna let us get that nice crispy bottom that is cherished by all paella lovers. So we're gonna go ahead and set this at medium high. We're gonna let it heat up a little bit, add in our oil. That oil is gonna get up to temp, You can see it already shimmering, so we're ready for our onions and our pepper. And then we're gonna sweat our onions and our pepper. It's gonna season with a little bit of salt. We're starting to get some good color on these. We're ready to go ahead and add in our garlic. And we're gonna cook that garlic down for a couple of minutes. Want it to get just a little bit of color before adding everything else in. You definitely don't wanna burn your garlic. Now we're going to add in the Spanish chorizo. With the chorizo, what we wanna do is let it render out some of that fat, some of that flavor, and it's just gonna give us a really nice base for that rice. Some of that fat has already rendered into the pan. The next thing we're gonna do is add in our rice. I've already stirred in the rice to get everything coated, and now we're going to add in our saffron water. You wanna get all the strands in there. If they all don't go in there, no worries, we'll rinse it out with the stock right now. You can see the rice turning yellow. That's how you know you got good saffron. If you don't have saffron, you can always use turmeric. It's not gonna give you the same flavor, but it'll definitely get the job done. We're ready to add the rest of our stock. I'm just gonna rinse the saffron bowl to make sure we got all those little strands in there. Remember, it's expensive. Now we just want to even out our paella so it cooks evenly. So this has reached a boiling point, so now we're gonna lower the heat down to a simmer, and we're gonna wait about 10 minutes before we add in our shrimp. Now, you really have to fight the urge to stir this. You don't wanna stir it. If you do, you're gonna end up with risotto, and that's not what we're looking for here. Okay, so about 10 minutes has passed, and our liquid is starting to get absorbed. So now we're gonna add in our shrimp. We're just gonna stick these guys in there. And remember, you're still not allowed to stir this. After about 5 minutes, we're gonna go ahead and cover this with the peas, and that'll help keep some of that steam in. And we're gonna raise up the temperature to get that crispy bottom, called socarrat. Well, socarrat is what you call the toasted part of the paella. It gives it a nice texture and also gives it a really nice crunch. And the way you're gonna know if you have socarrat or not is really by smell. You're gonna get a little toasty smell like I'm getting right now. So as soon as you get that, go ahead and turn off your heat and your paella is almost done. And for our final step, we're gonna go ahead and add in the mussels. And now our paella is done. It's looking beautiful, but we're gonna make it even prettier by adding some lemon slices. You can go ahead and add those on top. You don't wanna have acid touching your carbon steel pan because that will strip some of that seasoning that you work so hard to get. And lastly, we're just gonna add some parsley leaves. The parsley adds this really nice, fresh and tangy flavor that goes really, really well with mussels and the shrimp. And there you have it. This beautiful paella is perfect for a party. The presentation is gonna wow your guests. I'm gonna serve myself up a little bowl. You wanna get some of that crunchy socarrat. There you go. You wanna get some shrimp in there, some mussels. All right, let's taste this. So that socarrat gives you that nice little crunch, that nice toasty flavor. That saffron is very floral, goes really, really well with the chorizo, and it's gonna go excellent with the shrimp. It's really an easy thing to make. You just gotta spend a little bit of time. The flavors are amazing, and I hope I've been able to show you how easy it really is, and how once you get rice and saffron together, you can just make it your own, put in your own flavors, put in your own flair. I really hope you guys try this and enjoy it at home. So that's it. I'm Chef Rulis from Rulis International Kitchen in El Paso, Texas. I hope to see you guys soon.
Perfect. Cut.